As we know, the purpose of the bill is to specify the amount of risk equalisation credits to be paid for the risk equalisation fund in respect of age, gender and the level of cover from the 1st of April to 2020, and to make consequential amendments to the Stamp Duties Consolidation Act 1999, and to revise the community rating stamp duty levies required to fund the risk equalisation credits. As I understand it, Minister, this means that the government is increasing the stamp duty paid by insurance firms on health insurance policies, which is the first increase in 3 years. As reported, the government has said that a 1% increase of €5 in stamp duty for policyholders with advanced contracts is not only necessary to support more affordable policies for older and less healthy people, but was also extremely modest as the first increase in 3 years. Why is this the first increase, and why is this increase being imposed on firms that's so modest? The increase, I ask you, Minister. And I'm sorry I missed your opening speech, but you might reply when you're finishing. We have seen the cost of insurance. We've seen the costs of the Insurance Working Group report on motor insurance that was supposed to provide greater clarity, certainty and transparency in relation to that sector. That has not happened, however. By and large, as evidence presented to the Public Accounts Committee last week by the insurance industry reps made it all too clear. Perhaps we need to think about developing a working group on health insurance, Minister. Even Dr de Butler, who recently signed off on the report on private practice in public hospitals, was clear that there is a significant problem about how we operate private health insurance in this state. He recently told the Health Committee that we are a complete outlier, where 50% of people think they have to have private health insurance, some of which is for non-advanced plans that only apply in a public hospital. Dr de Butler went on to note that an international benchmark of almost 15% would be typical. And why are we at 50%? He said that we can get a high-performing public system with the Sláinte Care programme, and the private system can go off and supplement that or compete with it. Either or. According to Money Guide in the health insurance market in Ireland, it is estimated to be worth over €2 billion in premiums each year. Staggering €2 billion. While you have a health budget, I know, €17 billion. €2 billion is a savage amount of money paid out of people's pockets. At the end of 2018, it was estimated that 43% of the population of Ireland had private health cover. 43%, Minister. Money Guide also note that there seems to be a strong loyalty, or maybe just apathy, about switching health insurance provider. It's very difficult, and if you've tried it and you're getting the same product or different product, what are you getting for your money? We need to encourage people out of that apathy and encourage them to shop around more, but sometimes it's made so difficult and bureaucratic, and it is, Minister. And you know, I'm sure, health insurance, I have it. It's so difficult to move from the few to her there, and you don't know, you're getting the same cover for the same bands and the same payments. So it's tricky to loop as far as they're concerned, and it's a cash cow for them. And you moved in, and I know some unfortunate elderly people who gave up paying recently because they couldn't afford it, and then they get sick and paying it all their life. They might only be gone a month. Something happens and they have no cover. As I understand it, the average number of years policyholders have been with their current health insurance providers is 14 years. And 14 years must count for something. 5 years is loyalty. 10 years is extra loyalty. 14 years is huge loyalty. Only 22% of people have ever changed their insurance provider. And maybe the insurance companies are too cushy and too blasé and have a total, cavalier, I suppose, viewpoint towards the policyholders. So they'll pay up. Where else are they going to go? And look, they need to have it, and there's a fear factor and everything else. So there needs to be a whole possible review here, an examination of what's going on. I said only 22% of people have ever changed their insurance provider. That's a small percentage. Only 20% of people with health insurance said that they regularly shopped around for lower prices and or better cover. 1/5. Shocking. And it's a kind of a started. I remember when the health insurance started, and the VHI and all. So people are so glad to get it and so fearful of, and we can understand now, especially with the public hospitals and with the queues out the door and the shocking figures today in Limerick. New record again today in Limerick with Sevens North Tipperary. Shocking. But everyone is shocked except the ministers, and you're seeing a minister, I'm not saying you minister, Minister Harris. Everyone is shocked, but another new record today for failure and for absurdity and for the amount of trauma and stress on patients. And we're not really in the winter at all yet. So you throw 25 million in at the winter programme, so the whole thing is archaic. Totally archaic, but that's why people are so frightened. That's why they keep paying the private companies and are afraid they didn't shop around. Again, according to moneyguide.ie, the average cost of private health insurance policy in Ireland, according to the 2017 survey by the Health Insurance Authority, was €1,858 a year. Over 35% were paying more than $2,000 a year. These could be policies for a whole family, but it's savage money, Minister. I hope that for a whole family. I mean, as I said, the average cost was $1,858 a year, and over 35%, which is more than a third, were paying more than $2,000 a year. It's amazing money. 38% said they had never made a claim on their health insurance policies. That's a large amount as well. So the insurance companies can't say the premiums are going up because of the claims. 38% said they never made a claim. The Health Insurance Authority has a price comparison facility for private health insurance in Ireland. A search on the HIA comparison site, October 2019, for cover providing a private room in a private hospital showed up dozens of different health insurance price plans available for a single adult. Why is that? I mean, the visitors come to our capital city now, they're being charged extortionate rates for hotel rooms. But this isn't outside our health. As I said, it hits with the HIA comparison for October 19. Cover provided a private room in a private hospital showed up dozens of different health insurance price plans available for a single adult. So you would want to bring the family in there, because single room. Prices range from, this is for the single room, for single adult, from the cheapest at $910 per adult per year to the most expensive per night to $4,868 per adult. It's shocking money. Shocking money. The amounts of different plans and variations in levels of cover provided is mind-boggling. It must be easy for people to get confused by all those options available. And you keep giving them options until you're out of options. I mean, and it's so sad because, especially for elderly people who wouldn't be able to go on the web and wouldn't be able to, go on and Google and check out what the best value. But it's just unbelievable that they get, charged that kind of money. The amount of different plans and variations in levels of cover provided is mind-boggling. And it must be easy, as I said, for people to get confused. I said that, sorry. The lowest price plan shown was €910 for the Control 600 Connect from Leia Insurance. Control 600 Connect. This Leia policy has a €600 excess on each inpatient claim. Outpatient consultant visit gets €40 each, and GP visits €20 each, A&E €20. So there you are, you're paying the insurance, but then you must pay your pillow money as well. So the best option, if people could do it here, is not to get sick, not to try and go anywhere, because you're pleased. The loyalty policy has a €600 excess on each claim. And as I said, outpatient consultant visit €40 each, and GP visit €20 each. So I mean, some GPs are in charge 40 anyway, so this is crazy. There are also ongoing issues for the kind of insurance that medical practitioners require. There is a chronology to this. Since the establishment of health insurance and the VHI in 1957, a liberalised market was promised when the Third Life Directive was transposed into Irish law on 29 November 1994. It was supposed to force competition and reduce prices in the area of private health insurance. Supposed to. Like everything else is supposed to drive competition and better value, but it doesn't happen. Why in this country, and we celebrate the Cade Blean of the 100th anniversary of our first call, why is everything such a rip-off? And we're promised all this and we don't get it. Or they take the people and complete patsies and complete fools. As I said, there's no public service out there. There shouldn't be knocking everything. There is when you get into the hospital, but trying to get into A&Es at the moment is just abysmal. And just a horrible, horrible, desperate experience. And a new record, as I said, announced today in Limerick, in University Hospital Limerick, which serves half my county. You know, not a mental health bed in the whole of the county of Tipperary. You know that, Minister. You've tried your best, but you're unable to change it. And that's a sad reflection, not a reflection on you. It's a reflection on the people with the hands and the handle pads of power, the senior officials, the HSE. You'd need a hammer and chisel to get them off it. And they're in charge, the permanent government. They're in charge, and they don't care. Instead of serving the public, they're self-serving, many of them, and providing them sure they get promotion and get positions for themselves. We've seen in Clonmel, you were with me last week, we see the hospital full of offices. I said that to you when I was there. See another hospital closed full of offices. 900 beds, I said 300 beds that day. 900 beds have been lost in Tipperary in the last 15 years. And they're all full up with officials. The beds are gone, and they're taken over and upgraded to high standards. Until we have not one single mental health bed. There's something rotten in the state of the HSE in this state as regards that. It's a total disgraceful. And this is insurance and the whole thing again. As I said, the liberalised market was promised when the third directive was passed in 1994. The Health Insurance Act 1994 made provision for the establishment of Health Insurance Authority, HIA. But the body was not brought into existence until February 2001. A long time later. Why did it take so long? Why have the people been treated like this by this legislative? I mean, we were promised it in 1994, and we were promised this authority would come in, but the body wasn't brought into existence until the 1st of February 2001. A long time later. Why did it take us at that time? Who was in charge, Minister? You weren't here then, neither was I. But I mean, what's going on? And I believe that's the deliberate policy. Not by the legislators, the current ones or the past ones. Many of them are only passing through. We're at the whim of the public to elect us. And thankfully, for the time being, they have elected me. But I have to ask these questions. Why did it take that length of time for this body to be appointed, when it was promised with the legislation? The 1994 Act was amended by the Health Insurance Amendment Act 2001, providing for, among other things, an enhanced role for the HIA, with more responsibility than envisaged under the 1994 Act. I welcome that. The HIA is funded by a levy imposed on private medical insurers, but obviously this, like everything else, is passed on to the punters. Who pays the piper calls the tune. That's the way it should be. That's not what happened. Just pass it on. The role of the HIA includes acting as a register of medical insurers and undertakings and vettings, never and new markets entrance. It is also involved in consumer protection and provision of information, and also provides private advice on matters of medical insurances to the Minister for Health. The HIA receives returns from medical insurers every 6 months, and on that basis make recommendations to ask the Minister regarding risk equalisation, which is what the bill before us deals with. So I hope this bill does deal with it. I do not understand why insurers cannot see that these increases are creating an even bigger mess. The dropout rate from health insurance is enormous, and why wouldn't the Minister look? So all is not well, Minister, and I appeal to you to do what you can to sort it out.